That was amazing. That was so good. What?
So, in the
I
future.
didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No. Stop it. Oh my God, that's so cool.
Explain wormholes or explain curved black holes in maybe 3 sentences.
Recording in progress. Oh God.
Off
It's
to a
okay.
great start. All right. Welcome, everyone. I am Cinepresto, and today, what's that? We have a special guest on the show. Of course, we have, introducing to our channel, TRINA NISHIMURA, whose career in acting and voice acting need no further elaboration, but we're going to try anyways. Voice of Mari Makinami in Evangelion, Mikasa Ackerman in Attack on Titan, young Akito Soma in Fruits Basket, Kyoka Jiro in My Hero Academia, and of course, our favorite assistant, Christina. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Trina. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me, Preston. I'm very excited.
All right. So I guess our first question for you is, it's been a while since you've done Kurisu, but what was the process of being cast as the character like for you? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I actually was cast without auditioning. The amazing director, Colleen Klinkenbeard, who's also a very dear friend of mine and an incredibly talented person. I didn't know anything about the project until I stepped into the booth, and then it was just a crazy, wild ride, and one of my all-time favorite characters to voice. She's just such a strong character, a meaty character, and she has so many levels and things that it was just a really, really, really fun project, and I'm incredibly grateful that I got to be part of it.
That's so awesome. So based on just the fact that she knew you pretty well, and also, you know, your prior work probably spoke for itself. She picked you, she thought you'd fit this character perfectly, and she was completely right, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I never want to say that what I did was the only or the apex or whatever for a character, but she and I had worked together on several projects before, and just that it was just really special and just an epic show.
All right.
And obviously there are some people that like it. You like it, so that's cool.
Clearly. It's obviously been a while since you've gotten to do the role, but then you got to come back recently for Phantom Breaker Omnia. What was the process there like? And would you be open to doing even more as the character?
So for Phantom Breaker Omnia, I reprised the role, which was really neat. The director, Patrick Seitz, who also was one of the writers for season 1 of Steins Gate, he told me about Kurisu coming back at a premiere in LA. We were both at for My Hero, and he was like, "Oh, there's this new game, and we can't talk about it. I can't tell you anything other than Kurisu is in it." I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool! I love her so much." It was really fun to be able to her and in a fighting game. That was amazing, and the controller that the company sent me was so cool, and it was fun to get back into her, and they were kind enough, which was really special. My partner and I went through some health challenges during 2020, and we were in the hospital for a while. Luckily, it wasn't COVID. Unfortunately, it was leukemia, but he's doing real well now. And they held the role for me and didn't recast. So it was really special. That was the first video game I did after the hospital, coming back into the recording realm, and it was very special that I got to play in the game, just because it was like revisiting an old friend. And yeah, of course, I'd be 100% open to anything Steins Gate related. Beautiful show, and the cast is so amazing. I wish that they would do more, but I mean, how many times can you die? You know.
True that. Spoiler alert. And you know, I do think I can speak for the rest of the science adventure community when we say that we're really thankful that, you know, he's doing a lot better now, and we appreciate that update. So a lot of us were very concerned about everything going on at the time, so we're just glad that things are looking better for
Thank
you
you.
guys now.
Yeah.
So we do have a few questions, speaking of the science
Yeah.
adventure community, sourced from a bunch of them all over the internet. As you know, they're a community that just loves being around and being curious, but we don't often get the chance to do a Q&A of this style, particularly related to a show that's been around for so long, such as Steins Gate. So we're going to go straight into that. Fresh Tea Bags by Lipton on Reddit asks, as someone working as a part of and with the rest of the voice cast, how was the script for the English dub created? And we kind of talked about it a little bit just now, right? Continuing on that question, I'm aware it was a more particular process with J. Michael Tatum writing a lot, but was there room to be flexible with how you develop the characters because there are references? It must have been such a unique process.
It was a really cool process. I am not as talented as J. Michael Tatum in the writing realm. I mean, I got my degree in writing, but I don't think that he and Patrick Seitz writing that first season, I mean, that work really is what made everybody fall in love with the characters. And with all the Easter eggs and all the references to pop culture, like Doctor Who and Star Trek and like everything else, it was just really, really cool. And it was really awesome. Tatum is a very outspoken uh, if he was here, he would have a better word for it. But his knowledge and writing style is amazing, and Patrick is incredibly talented as well. And without those two, I don't think Steins Gate would be what it is.
It definitely shows, because that was my first introduction to the show. I remember when the dub was still available to watch on YouTube, and you know, obviously I fell in love with it from there. And there's a particular aspect to your character that really works on a different level for someone like me who grew up between Asia and the States. Between Christina and Mikasa, you get to play a few characters that are Japanese American in a sense, or in the latter's case, multi-ethnic. As someone who identifies as that, do you think that your own experiences has allowed you to bring more of a personal dimension to these characters?
I think there's definitely being a third generation American of Japanese descent, who's half white and half Japanese, but very Texan. There's a lot of different elements to these characters that I relate to. I know I wasn't cast in these roles, specifically the ones you mentioned, like Mikasa and Kurisu. I wasn't cast in the roles because of my ethnic background. But I do, my family was interned during World War II. My grandparents actually met and married in the camp at Tule Lake. And my grandfather served in the war for America, obviously. And there's definitely an element to being half Japanese and having that sort of generational history, and half white, that it makes, for me personally, it's like the question of ethnicity and race and things is always really tricky, because it is like kind of like you're literally split, right? Like, because the cultures are so different, and the family dynamics are so different. But it's certainly something that I enjoy, and I enjoy the aspects of each side of my maternal and paternal family, and the traditions and the nuances within those cultures. But I don't think I mean, at the very core of me, I am a proud American. I am a proud Texan, and I'm fortunate to have had so many amazing experiences and people in my life, but I definitely can relate to the idea of being torn between two cultures and associating with both and finding that middle ground. Um, I mean, I grew up in Texas, in a very small town, that there were two Japanese families in the whole town. There was one guy and then our family. And so that was a little strange for a long time, because there wasn't a whole lot of Japanese culture or things. And I think that growing up in a place like that, where I was never white enough or never Asian enough, it certainly influenced a lot of my early acting. and the idea of self-discovery within that, and also just kind of figuring out. I mean, everybody when you're growing up gets bullied, and everybody when you're growing up goes through stuff. But being bullied specifically for being Asian was really weird. I hope. I mean, I'm not a teenager now, but I hope that people are more accepting. I see that when I go to conventions and I see people that are different, than what I grew up around, and they're being celebrated for their differences. So I think that that makes me very happy and hopeful and optimistic about the idea that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, some other actor is going to be sitting in this chair and be like, yeah, that I was just a person.
Right.
So I think being torn when I was a kid, and having that duality of identity, and now playing those two characters who are from different place but put somewhere that's culturally and socially different, was really, really interesting to explore.
It's such
When
a
did
cool
you? So
aspect to
you
think
grew
about.
up. Uh, it,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Where did you grow up?
Oh
No,
yeah,
where did you grow
between
up?
California and then over in Asia. I spent a lot of summers there, over in Hong Kong and stuff like that. And, travel a lot of Japan too when I was younger. So yeah.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
for answering that though. That's such a deeper question. I think you really broke it down, that it's just like, especially when you grow up, it starts getting like, people start seeing past that, and it's really just about the person first, as opposed to, simply just what's on the outside. And it's such a great aspect that I think you managed to really touch on, that people don't always think about. So yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely strange. I didn't I didn't seek out a partner that was obsessed with Japanese food. But that's how it happened. We had a Japanese restaurant. I do English dubbing for Japanese cartoons. It's not something I could have planned. It's just kind of how it happened.
And life works out that way sometimes, so. And speaking of which, you do have a lot of sessions later today, naturally. So, on that note,
Yeah.
Ninja asks, how do you warm up in the booth when you're ready to do a character? I know I have my way. I chug a lot of hot water and tea before I go do a session. How do you handle those sorts of scenarios?
Yeah, I try and be incredibly hydrated. Hydration is important, as you know. Tea and hot water is awesome. I typically have like ice water, room temp water, and hot water or tea in the booth with me, especially if it's a screaming session, just because I want to be able to. Oh, look at you!
Immediately. Triggered.
Um, yeah, right. Hydration is very important. If I'm going to a studio, I usually do a lot of vocal warm ups in the car. If I'm recording from home, I'll do a lot of vocal warm ups in the shower. That humidity also helps. I have like a little humidifier mask that I'll use, especially if I'm traveling or something, or if I've been traveling. And yeah, it's a lot of just common sense stuff. If I'm recording a particularly sad session, like for Steins, for example, when I was recording Steins, the night before, I'd always watch a really sad, sad love story or movie just to be really sad. I think the warm up and the come down are always a little challenging. Steins in particular, after each session, I mean, it was so emotional and so heavy, and every session was just a lot. But my partner would, if I was recording Steins, he'd be like, "Are you recording the sad one today?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm recording the sad one." So when I come home, he'd be like, "I made tacos." Like, "We're
Aw.
having pizza." I'd be like, "That's really nice." So it's like it helps me to like have tangible things like comfort food to bring myself back into the world that we all exist in.
Oh my goodness. Texan tacos too. Oh, yeah, you guys are doing it right. On top of that, so has there been one role that you felt has been most challenging technically or just emotionally for you? Just to follow up on that question.
There was a show called Monster Hunter.
Mm.
And in Monster Hunter, I played an Iru cat, and he sounded like this. And I could only do his voice for about 2 hours before I had to stop. but he was in every episode. So
Oh,
we would record in 2 hour blocks, and then I wouldn't talk for the rest of the day. For Mari, for Evangelion, in the very first scene that she's in, she has this incredible scream, and physically, that scream in particular, I like screamed and I looked out at the director and at the engineers, Stephen and Mike, or Mike and Stephen, respectively. And they were both really shocked. And Stephen, the engineer, was like, "You were 1 decibel away from bursting the diaphragm in your microphone." So that's my proudest moment. As far as I couldn't talk for a week afterwards,
oh
but
my goodness.
that's one of my proudest moments for sure. And physically most challenging.
Right. It's like picking the voice. I mean, you can do it on the audition, but then you regret taking it if you get picked for it, and you're just like, why did I go so hard on the audition?
Yeah.
Relatable. Absolutely
I completely agree.
relatable.
Because the 2 minute audition is very different than a 6 hour session.
Yeah, it's just pure pain from that point on. Okay. Continuing on to the next question, we have the Gunnar Kid, a good friend of ours, who asked that in regards to the Steins Gate movie, during commentary, you mentioned that it was a pretty emotionally involved role. Looking back, are there any moments that really stand out for you? I know you talked just now about how you watch sad movies, but I guess if you want to add a little bit something to that.
Moments that stood out for me. I think I don't want to spoil. I mean, I guess most of your audience already has seen all of it, but I don't want to spoil
Yeah,
anything.
I guess we should have just put
There,
up friends as a spoiler thing.
but to be kind of general, in the very last episode, there's a very particular scene that was really, it was a culmination of the whole show, right? And it was a whole lot, and um, really sad because the show was ending and we were wrapping, and I knew that was the last session. But also just the the choice that is made, vague, right? The choice that's made, that was a really emotional moment, and hard to record.
Gotcha. I think we all know, but that was perfect.
I don't know. I don't
That
want
was
to spoil
perfect for anyone who hasn't
it.
seen it yet. So thank you. I guess we
Oh,
don't have
and
to put
then
the spoiler warning anymore. This is just, why does Gunnar keep giving me these sorts of questions? This one's just straight up a spoiler. How do you compare voicing Amadeus Kurisu versus Makise Kurisu?
Yeah.
We went through all that
was
effort. Thanks, Gunnar.
I know, right? Just for this. Yeah. When we revisited Steins Gate, and the director explained Amadeus versus Kurisu to me, it was like rebuilding the character all over, right? Because the Amadeus version had never been to Japan. Like, she never met Okabe. She never went through all of those things. And so when we built her out, or not the royal we, just me, Will, with the director, who at that point was Chris George. When he and I were talking about Amadeus versus Kurisu, it was just like rebuilding like the core of who she was without a lot of trauma. So she was much lighter, and I kept her a little bit less pensive, because she was also AI, right? So Amadeus is very different in my mind than Kurisu, but I enjoyed playing both versions.
Yep. I mean, you can't get enough of that character, right? So also very good. Also very good. Skipped around it just enough. So
I mean, I'm trying not to
we
spoil
never know what we can
anything.
say or we can't say. I mean, we're probably gonna spoiler flag it anyway. It's all good. Speed round. So speed round. You can absolutely pass on these if you have no idea what on earth I'm talking about.
Okay.
Pulak Kumar on YouTube asks, "Are you an @channeler?"
I don't know what an @Chandler is.
It's the little
@Chan.
social media, the 4chan type social media they use in Steins Gate.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was like I've recently discovered that there's lots of new words that I don't know. And so I think like people are I never know what people are talking about. Somebody said that somebody was like, "Oh my God, that was busted," when I was in the booth the other day, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll do it again." And they're like, "No, that's good."
Yeah.
I was like, "Busted is good," and they're like, "Oh yeah," and then they're like, it's like I came into another session later with the same engineer, and she was like, "Oh wow, you really beat your face is or what? You really beat your face today." And I was like, I don't." So like now, anytime it's like something that could be something else, like I just have to ask because you guys are young and hip, and I'm old. And so I was like, well, what is that something new? Like, do I not know what it is? But you're in reference to the show, of course,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
reference to the show, because that's
yeah.
what we're doing here.
Just confusing the heck out of you,
So,
this whole interview.
sorry, that was not speedy. I'll just, I just, I just wanna be cool. So I'm just gonna say pass, pass, I pass. That wasn't speed.
Okay. That was a good speed. That's pretty good in terms of speed. All right. Wastelful on Reddit asks, is it possible to make a time machine?
Yes, I haven't figured out how to do that yet. I just go into little rooms and scream into magic cans, but I believe it's possible. And when that happens, I think it's gonna be really neat. Do you think it's
Sounds
possible?
Um, I like to think it's possible, but no one has shown up to Stephen Hawking's birthday party yet, which he told time travelers to show up to. So, but of course, we have to believe that it does happen here. So we're legally obligated to believe in time travel on this channel. So, Light of Life
So yeah.
227 or Not a Dang Sucker 64 on Reddit had similar questions, so I'm gonna let you pick one. Explain wormholes or explain Kerr black holes in maybe
Okay.
3 sentences.
um, I'll go with wormholes. In 3 sentences. Uh, Holes in the ground that worms make. Wormholes are holes in the ground that worms make.
You go. That's she got that. Okay, I mean, yeah, she did it. She did it, guys. If you're at home, clap. There you go. And then the final speed round
Okay.
question, Noah Novels on YouTube asks, if Kurisu had a quirk like in My Hero Academia, since you played Jiro, what would it be?
Her quirk would be that she could get help at any time from a mental health professional.
That's pretty good.
I mean, she needs it, like
I
she's
guess
been
that's
through some
true.
stuff and
I guess that's
she's
true.
just a kid.
That's true. That's
And
true.
then she
Poor,
falls
poor
in
girl.
love, and then, like if she could just be like, give me 1 second, I'm just gonna, figure out why I'm so mad that you keep calling me Christina. And before I scream at you, I'm just gonna take a beat. And then she's like in her therapist's office and says, like, he called me Christina again, he called me Christina. I can work through it. She can come back and be like, it's fine. It's
Poor
fine. Yeah.
assistant. It's so weird to
Now
play
that would
characters
be
sometimes that you're
it.
just like, oh, I know how I could help this character, but I still have to play the version of the character that needs help, right? So
I mean, she needs so much help, like
that's
she's just
true.
a
It's
little.
true.
I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah.
All right. And Lana on YouTube asks, as someone who has played one of the lab mems, what do you envision their future to be? And also she says that she loves you to bits and that you seem super sweet. Can we confirm that right now for the audience that you are super sweet? Or
I don't know about that. I try. I definitely try to be kind, and I think that's the goal, right? Is just to be as treat people how you'd want to be treated, and I aspire to be sweet. I appreciate that, and that's very sweet of you.
thanks, Lana.
But yeah,
Thank you, Lana.
I guess we can yeah, we can confirm that I try. But yeah, I think for the lab members, they're going to continue to be dear friends, and they're going to continue to grow together and be family of misfits that are also all brilliant scientists or hackers. And I think it's gonna be really good for them. I hope that at some point everyone's happy and alive and together, and nothing bad happens to them. Because I feel like they've had their share of bad, and like we can just chill out now.
Well,
like that's enough.
This is a
So
heavy
I hope
spoiler,
that they all just.
but there is a Steins question mark coming. So literally 3 question marks.
What?
So in the future,
didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No,
It's
I
in
didn't
development,
know that at all.
allegedly.
Stop it. Oh my God, that's so cool. I'm going to text Tatum right now. Oh, sorry. No, right here. I'm right here. But I'm going to text Tatum like the second we get off this and tell him because he's going to freak out.
Someday in the future.
So cool.
They had a working announcement. This was announced a few years ago now over in Japan side. So roughly end of 2020, they said that they're planning on bringing folks back for Steins question mark. So characters from the original are going to show back, including our favorite assistant. So
stop it.
Go figure. That's so great that wait, we have a screen.
So
You didn't
cool.
know.
I didn't know. Yeah, they don't tell us things like that. And the things that they do tell us, we have to sign NDAs for. So
was it just acting? Was it just acting the whole time? That we have to figure out for ourselves.
I don't know.
All right. 1 second for my camera
I lost you.
Come back.
Yeah, no worries.
My camera's old.
It happens.
It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't want to work.
No, it's fine. I'm doing this on an iPad. You know, like we're all just doing the best we can.
All right. And on that note, that actually works perfectly to segue into our final question. This is from @ChrisGLink on Twitter, who is also a great friend of the show too.
Oh.
Have you ever been interested in playing the Steins Gate visual novel or any of the games and shows in the rest of the Science Adventure series beyond just Steins Gate? And it looks like if you just heard this news, you might have to now, right?
I might have to. I think that's all I'm saying.
That was the perfect way to cap it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you so much for having me on, Preston. You're so sweet.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Trina. Really appreciate it. This has been Cine Presto. Next time on Cine Presto, we take Trina to Akiba, where the show is set. I can't even finish the bit.
We should do that. That would be fun.
Actually. All right. We'll do that off camera, though. Thank you guys for watching and for asking your questions. This has been so awesome.
Okay.
As you know, as always, what do we say? Ed, Sai, Kongre.
That was amazing. That was so good.
I have to stop
Sorry.
recording.
Bye. Thank you.